Hello and welcome back to another episode of the 6th Round MMA Show, and we are here with our post-fight analysis of the recent UFC Fight Night, which literally just ended not 5 minutes ago.
Bang, coming for the top, got the game in the lock. Every time that I drop, know I gotta go bang. I'ma keep it hot, know that I can never stop. Keeping everything I got, I'ma make it go bang.
Crazy card. Very crazy card.
Dramatic.
And
something that I don't think has ever even happened in UFC history.
In 1 week, we've seen things that we haven't seen unfold probably over the course of 3 or 4 cards, 5 cards. I don't even know.
Years. Hardly ever do you get no contests or disqualification via legal techniques. So when that happens, that's an anomaly. And it to happen twice, we'll get to it in a second, but to happen twice on a main card of an event. But at the same time, I don't really want to take away from today because last week, UFC 259, there was such a big hype which didn't live up to it. But yet, this actually fight card was fantastic despite the dramatic endings to some of them.
We had some great fights. I mean, 2 great fights, which we'll get to in a second, but 2 fights that unfortunately, our one fight, our main event, that unfortunately unfolded in a way that nobody thought was going to happen. But why don't we get straight into it?
Yeah, well, on the prelims, because everything got reorganized just because the Ben Rothwell and Felipe fight was canceled. So we had the Ashley Yoder fight and Angela Hill fight move to the prelims. We had Eric Anders against, Eric Anders was against Darren Stewart, moved up to the main card as well. As an old-timer, Davey Grant, my boy Davey, making me some money today against Jonathan Martinez. The Ashley Yoder fight and Angela Hill. It went almost exactly the way I wanted. So obviously I picked Ashley Yoder to win because I knew that Angela Hill had jiu-jitsu deficiencies in her game, which proved. So Ashley Yoder was getting dominated on the feet. To be honest, it wasn't really like a world-class display anyways. I think they're both so far in between, not even close to getting that title shot. But when Ashley Yoder was successfully able to get Angela Hill to the ground, Angela Hill was kind of stuck. But the problem is Yoder wasn't active when she was on the ground. She was kind of holding on to a position, which is why I kind of guessed that she would win by decision, even though she lost by decision. But Angela Hill was able to use her kickboxing, which actually you're kind of a fan of Angela, I think. Angie.
I'm kind of 50-50. You know, her fights are, for some reason, she's like a decision queen. She always goes to decision. I like her technique. I'm a big fan of Muay Thai. So I love when she fights because she's a Muay Thai technician. But for some reason, she just can't put things together, and she can't get the finish, and she can't get the win sometimes. But tonight we saw what she could do.
And what she's kind of known for.
What she's kind of known for, which I don't think was the most exciting, fun fight to watch, but she got the win. But
she did bring the fight to Ashley Yoder, but there was, on paper, at least a big difference between each of their games and each of their levels. And I don't think the difference was really shown here. Maybe in the stand-up class, but as an all-round MMA fighter, honestly, Angie Hill didn't really shine tonight like the commentators made it seem like she did, in my opinion.
Oh, but all 3 judges scored the bout 30-27. So
one point rounds for sure.
Dominant victory.
It was fine. I just expected more. If you were gonna win, like if I had Ashley Yoder winning, which I did, it would be by decision because she's not an ultimate killer. She just has a superior ground game. But I expected if Angie was to win, which I didn't have her winning, I just want to make it clear, I'm not trying to go back on my pick, that she would have taken her out. And I think on numerous occasions, she could have really put the pressure on and done that. But I feel like I just feel like deep down inside her core, I feel like she's not a killer. And them talking about her getting a title shot or like soon, like good fucking luck with Valentina Shevchenko.
Well, I mean, styles make fights. And I mean that could be a fun fight to watch because they're both great boxers, great kickboxers. But Angie's just got to work on her grappling a lot more. And I think that's something you would agree on.
Oh, big time. I think that's her biggest hole, and I feel for real I feel like there's something she's just not even willing to evolve. Like some fighters are not willing to learn that new skill set, and I definitely think she's one of them. All I say is all the best to you in your upcoming fights if you ever get that fight against Valentina Shevchenko, because I do think you will die. Yeah, I'm just trying to be honest with you. Like, I'll honestly wish you the best in the afterlife, but I don't think it's it's really well for you. But now we're on to the main card.
Yep.
And the first fight was actually going amazing. And then the first dramatic event happened of the night. We got Eric Anders and Darren Stewart.
And the illegal knee.
Yeah, it was an illegal knee. And it was so not necessary because Eric Anders had the fight in its reach. He wobbled him like numerous times. He could as easily just grounded and pounded him, or just even held his head down and just pounded him against the fence. It was right there. It was an easy... He was 2 punches away from the ref just stopping it.
I don't know if you saw, but he actually threw a knee, but his opponent's knee came off the ground at the very second he threw the knee.
Yeah.
So that could have been taken as an illegal knee if the fighter was down, which he wasn't. And then I think it was Bisping on the commentary that said, "Oh, that could have been illegal."
Yep.
And then he throws it again.
Yep.
And then he throws it again. So I don't know. We saw it last week with Aljamain Sterling and Peter Yan. I don't know. Is the rule set? It just seems like there's the waters are murky, and the
there's no waters are murky. Me and you are not professional MMA fighters, and we know the rule set. The rules are not murky. Grow the fuck up and learn the rule set. It's not hard. If us as viewers know it, you're in the gym doing this every day. You know the fucking rule set, and that's what's irritating about this. And for real, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but I think there should be fines. You purposely broke the rules.
Well, there has to be
fines.
repercussions. There definitely has to be.
Yeah, not just a no contest.
Yep.
In any other sport, hockey, if I do something illegal to you, these guys get fined.
They get a fine. They get a suspension as well, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's something that has to be on the table because this can keep happening.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that the UFC needs to investigate. I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was saying that perhaps it's tough to see if the knee is on the ground sometimes when it's against the cage. Definitely if you're in the middle of the cage, you can definitely see what's going on. But do you think that maybe he didn't see that his opponent was down? Do you think that was the case?
No, because I would say that you were right if it was followed up in a combo. But he was throwing a couple of those right uppercuts against Darren Stewart's face. There was a brief pause before he threw the knee. It wasn't like a follow-up in the combo. Adrenaline was building. It had nothing to do with that. It wasn't a follow-up technique. It was its own separate, singly thrown technique, which is bullshit. But then on the other side, I'm going to play devil's advocate. I really think that it's a stupid rule anyway. I think you should be able to knee grounded opponents. I really do. If I can lay my elbow and forearm down to your face,
if you can punch, if you can uppercut, if you can elbow,
it's stupid.
You should be able to do anything. But
and then the fighters like Aljamain, they use it as a weapon. Like, oh, you can't knee me because my knee's on the ground to postpone the fight. Which no, get fucking knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, and some fighters play patty cake sometimes, right? Hands are on the mat, then they take it off, and then they play that game a little bit. But for the most part, Stewart was losing this fight.
Oh, he was already knocked out. It was happening.
Man, and all Anders needed to do was just follow up with those punches against the cage because he was not defending whatsoever. He took 20 unanswered punches until that illegal knee landed. So again,
Eric Anders.
Here we are with the no contest, and we'll look to see what happens with Anders. He just seems to be on this negative slope. As of late.
Yeah. Well, next fight. I was excited for this one.
Yeah.
Because we have Manel Cape from Portugal, and he was fighting Mateo Nicolau, who's a superior ground specialist. But I just think Manel has this big problem. I know we didn't talk about him too much in the pre-fight, but just to break it down, this guy had so much hype coming into the UFC. He had a really good fight against Pantoja in his first fight. It was not even 5 weeks ago. But he was very hesitant, which is very out of his character, because when he fought for Ryzen FC and he was the bantamweight champion, he was the aggressor all the time. He was so full of energy, but you could see in his eyes, it looked like he realized that he's like, you know what? I'm not okay with this stage. Like, it's not for me. There's too much anxiety. I just felt like he really, even in the second round, when he was really starting to feel feel his momentum rise, I still feel like he wasn't really trying to implement power with his techniques. Yeah. I felt like there were little rabbit techniques to get those points, but none of them really had like danger behind it.
You feel like he was pulling some of those
techniques? I feel like he's pulling almost onto them. I saw one of them, he landed to the body, which I'm like, okay, that was a really hard punch.
Well, I think the problem is, and we saw that for the most part, was he doesn't move his head off center when he throws those punches, and he's getting clipped every single time, and he just throws them short because he wants to get back.
Yep.
And he was just being way too tentative in the first round. Second round, he came out very fast. I think he should have stayed on that.
Yep.
And he should push the pace. Third round, he came out again a little too tentative.
Yeah.
Lost most of the round, and he was very distraught at the decision that the judges went to, and I can't really see why he thinks he would win that fight. In my opinion, I think this should have gone to draw.
I think so too.
I
think so too.
In the UFC, they're not doing that enough, and I think this fight is a good example of why you should give a draw to both fighters.
Yeah.
But
I had Nicolau winning round 1, Cape winning round 2,
Yep.
Nicolau winning the first half of round 3, and Cape winning the second half, especially with that head knee and the body knee that he laid. Maybe it wasn't as much volume as Nicolau threw in the third, but they had a way more impact than anything Nicolau threw in the third round. But nonetheless, I mean, it was an all right fight. It wasn't. I could see Nicolau really growing to be something big. Like he's a game. You actually said during the fights, he's a game opponent. You could see his jiu-jitsu is phenomenal.
Yeah. I love, and you pointed this out when Cape tried to bring him off the ground, and he stayed on the arm, and he
That's when you know that you're the echelon of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Your grip is phenomenal, and he was just aware the whole time.
Well, and even when Cape had him down, he didn't want to engage with him on the ground, and that's when you know there's trouble there.
Yeah, and that's when you know Cape's like confidence wasn't there either, because those seemed like really easy points. Get into his guard and just lay some bombs. Your jiu-jitsu should be good enough to at least negate, at least for the most part, some of the damage there, but you have to go in there and try to go for the kill, or else Dana White's just gonna be like, get the fuck out of here.
So do you agree with the decision as to where the judges split decision?
No, I would have called it a draw.
No, you'd have called it.
I would have called it a draw for sure.
Okay.
What do we got next? Oh, I loved this fight. Jonathan Martinez, who is a huge up-and-comer in the bantamweight division, is going against, I want to call him old-timer, but shit, motherfucker, we're almost the same age. Davy Grant.
Yeah.
Davy Grant was such an underdog, I put some money on him. And like, it's like everybody was against him. And you know what? As soon as the bell rang, so he got caught with a couple good shots, but his footwork looked impeccable. His speed was great. He was catching Martinez with some nice little bombs too.
He was moving. He did the Ali shuffle a couple times.
Yeah.
Looked kind of nice.
Yeah, his striking though, like he did catch him with this like a serious knockout.
Yeah.
But when you look at it in slow motion, like the striking IQ, and I don't want to disrespect, is really not there for him. He was just, obviously he had the cardio and the willpower and the heart to really throw and go for the kill, but his elbows were almost completely straight when he was throwing those bombs.
Very loopy. Very loopy.
Kind of like, we'll talk about this in the future, but kind of like how I see Ngannou when he throws his wild punches as well. But Ngannou is also 13 times the size. But I'm happy for Davy Grant. I was really excited. We screamed here in the place. It was fucking awesome. Not just because he made me money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy for him.
I loved his weird kicks and his different techniques, and he threw that
The spinning shin kick.
shin kick. We kind of paused for a second there. We were like, what the hell did he just throw? And then Bisping said it too, but it didn't land. But he's very elusive.
It's the tornado shin danger.
Very elusive.
Yeah. It's one of a kind, Davy Grant. Thank you so much. I'm not overly sure if I'm going to be betting on you in the future, just because I see a lot of deficiencies, but I'm glad you got the win tonight. And Martinez is young. He's still got a whole career in front of him, so I think he's really going to pick up and learn from this loss and come back especially smarter, especially on the defensive end. So,
next fight on the card, we got Gavin Tucker and Dan Ige.
So much to talk about in this fight. Yeah.
Is there?
Well, there was a lot of techniques thrown. I think most of the techniques were thrown on their way into the octagon with their hands swinging about punching poltergeists.
Yeah.
Because when the cage closed, just tell them. I'm really upset about this one.
Wow.
Because I talked a lot about Gavin Tucker.
Yeah. And Gavin led in with his head, and he got clipped.
Yep.
And he got knocked out. And unfortunately, Dan didn't even have to follow up with strikes. It was called as soon as he hit the mat. And a very quick one. I think it was 20 seconds.
I think it was stopped too early, though. I think Gavin Tucker was playing possum.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? I'm resting. You come to get me.
Way too early, right?
Way too like he was clearly, his eyes were closed. He was just trying to catch his breath.
Yeah.
He was winded, right? It was a hard 20 seconds, and he wanted Dan to just jump on him, so then Gavin could just wreak hell on him, wreak havoc. Yeah. No, it was pretty bad. Honestly, it was a devastating knockout. It was really unfortunate too because we didn't really get to see. It was one of those fights where a flash knockout happens, and it happens so early that you don't necessarily see who was the better fighter that day, right? I mean, it was a beautifully timed strike, but even when you look at the replay, Dan didn't even get to fully extend the punch. He didn't get to throw the punch. It met about halfway because Gavin Tucker, even Bisping said, he came in straight with no head movement right onto the collision.
Well, he was loading up with that right hand or that left hand. And he dropped it so low, and he gave him time. He gave Dan Ige a window to just land that punch so cleanly, and unfortunately ended the fight.
Yeah.
For Gavin, put his lights out, which is, you picked Gavin, and I can see why you picked him. Mixes it up very well in the octagon. His jiu-jitsu is great. And
he break falls really well.
And he break falls really
sick.
well. I've never seen a break fall with your head first, but
but he was fine. He was fine. He was playing possum. It was one of those things. A very deadly technique.
Yeah. What's next on the table for Dan Ige? We saw the call out. He wants the Korean Zombie next.
I think it's a good fight.
Yeah.
I think it's a good fight because Korean Zombie is coming off a loss, and Ige is climbing up the rankings. Yeah. I think it's a fight that actually does make sense. Neither of them in line for a title, because Korean Zombie's last loss was pretty devastating, and Dan's win was pretty devastating. So let's put them in the mix together. Now is the time to make that fight, and I think the fans would love to see it as well. I just hope we get to see more of Dan next time, because like I said, this is one of these fights you don't even get to see how in shape he is, the new techniques he's learned, and his evolvement as an MMA fighter.
But I think to his regard, he stays safe. He doesn't take any damage. He obviously trained very hard for this fight, but we get to see him sooner because he's not going to be on as long of a medical suspension.
Yep.
So that's the benefit here. We get to see him again a lot quicker than if he was in a war.
Yeah.
Right?
It's true. Who do we got next? Oh, we got Superman.
And we move on, yeah. We got Superman Span versus my boy,
Misha
Cirkunov. This one did not go the way I thought it was going to go. And we said it right before the fight started. Misha just looked worn out.
Yeah.
He didn't look like himself. Even back in the locker room shots, he looked a little weathered. And it's been 2 years since we've seen him.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it looked like he aged about 10 years in those two-year layoff that he had. And he definitely didn't look himself. Or Ryan Spann just brought it to him.
Yeah, I think it was more Ryan. So I agree with you. He looked weathered as fuck. He actually looked depleted, even though his body looked full. Like his face looked weathered. Absolutely, he looked like he had no confidence. But as soon as the bell rang, like his striking was impeccable. He came in with power. He wasn't afraid. He engaged right away. I think it was just one of those things where he just got caught. Maybe he got overexcited. Yeah. Maybe he was a little bit nervous, and then he got into it. He started feeling it out, and he got overexcited, and then he inevitably got caught by Superman.
Well, he clipped Ryan a few times, too.
He did.
Good heavy shots. Ryan Spann just ate them, kept coming through. Definitely didn't see a knockout.
Yep.
It was a TKO,
It was
right?
TKO, yeah.
Yeah, but very good power on those punches from Ryan Spann. Unfortunately, that loss to Johnny Walker set him back a bit, but I think he's right back on track and where he needs to be right now.
And there's still like a gray area, like a shadow over that Johnny Walker loss, because even the commentators were saying too, just go back and watch the tapes. There were illegal techniques that Johnny Walker was throwing to the back of Ryan Spann. So another illegal technique. Maybe the ref wasn't on the ball that day, didn't call it appropriately. Who's to say? Not trying to take away from Johnny Walker's performance, but nonetheless, an illegal technique is an illegal technique.
And it leads to the win.
Yeah.
Right? Which is...
And at the back head, too, that's when people get shut down. Right behind the ear, that's like the knockout zone.
Yep.
Yeah. But I'm happy I made some money off that one, too.
So what is that? So lost on the Angie Hill fight.
I think it's two. No. It is. No, it's 2-1 for you, because you got Dan and you got Angela Hill.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And you had Ryan Spann, so 2-1.
Yeah. Because then the other fight I had Ben Rothwell and you had Felipe, but it was canceled.
Right, yeah, that one was scratched.
Yeah, and we know that Ben Rothwell would have fucking crushed them. Now we're going to the main event, which ended exactly the way I thought it would.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I'm never in my life. So again, one of the most outrageous things that could ever happen in a main event.
Well, let's talk about round number 1, and let's lead up to that point, because I think, right from they didn't want to touch gloves at the start of the fight.
Yep.
I don't know where this animosity came from all of a sudden, but we were buckled up and we were ready for a great war. It looked like it was going to be a war for 5 rounds. And in the first round, they were trading.
Yep.
Bilal wore a very heavy kick to the right side of the head, started bleeding, opened up a cut. And then round 2 started. And then, unfortunately, here we are with the illegal knee.
Yeah, but I don't know if it was animosity, okay? Because when I'm competing, I don't want to be buddy-buddy with you. I fully respect you as an opponent, as a fighter, as a person in the opposition, the antagonist, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But I want to be focused on trying to hit you. And the more friendly things we try to convey between each other before that happens, I don't want any opportunity for me to be taken slightly out of my element. And Bilal, being ranked 13, going against a top 3 guy, a position that he didn't think he would get to, realistically, let's be real, for a couple of years. And he was there. He doesn't want anything getting in his way. So he is so focused. And then there's Leon Edwards. He has so much to prove. There's no time for buddy-buddy right now. After the fight, you could tell, I know it ended as a no contest, but they were buddy-buddy after that. Before the fight, you don't need a shit talk either. Just, they're focused. And some people don't want to touch gloves. And it doesn't mean, fuck you, I hate you. It just means, no, we'll deal with that after.
Yeah.
Let's just do business right now. Let's work. And then after, we'll respect each other.
It's competitiveness is what you mean, right?
Yeah, and you're right. Like Bilal came out, you could tell he was ready to go for this fight, but you can tell there was a difference in IQ between their striking. Bilal is more of a kind of like a barbarian when he fights, which is very respectful. But then you have Leon Edwards, who's like a superior kickboxing tacticianer, right? Yeah. His head kick came up like a bullet. It was super fast, and that was one of 2 that he threw. The first one was like a shotgun as well, but it was blocked, and it was amazing. And you could just see his striking looked phenomenal. But Bilal was strong against the cage, was able to turn and put Leon Edwards back against the cage, which I was super impressed about. Landed an elbow on his way out, separating from the clinch against the cage, which was awesome to see. Again, Leon Edwards won the first round, and I think it was leading up, but we can't say for sure that he would probably maybe win the fight if it kept going that way. But it's too early to tell because Bilal was only starting to catch his fire, right? He got his legs back under him after he recuperated from that head kick.
And it takes a bit of time with a longer, taller fighter to catch your range and to get your timing down too, especially with a guy like Leon who's so fast and so elusive as well. But I think Bilal showed his strength. He was very strong against the cage. And the illegal knee, the illegal eye poke.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think, to be honest, Leon was just trying to see if his retina was okay and just touching it and make sure. I don't think he was trying to do anything illegal at all.
Well, I think Bilal went in and tried to check it with his eye
he's trying to see what his finger looked like up close. I feel bad for both of them. I feel bad because
terrible ending.
Bilal was crying, he was emotional, and he's gonna get a lot of negative flack from little Twitter tough guys online and shit. But you could really just see he's passionate about the sport, and he also doesn't want that negative flack because you could see by his eye it was a legitimate eye poke. There was blood, it was bruised. He
swelled up right away.
Yeah. He felt bad because he never got to show how hard he was working for this and how hungry he was and how not scared he was to take on the echelon of the welterweight division. And Leon Edwards, same thing. 2 years out of the midst, and you can see cage rust was not a factor for him, and he wasn't scared. And again, he doesn't get to prove. And once again, he gets backtracked on his way to that title shot, because for sure, you can't progress like that. There was not enough information to go by.
So do you think that they reschedule this fight going forward? Or maybe,
I don't think
heals up, do you think that it's something that they need to put back together?
Here's the thing. I think if the eye, no, I don't think it should rematch it right away. Here's why: because Leon Edwards is completely healthy, and I think that Bilal is going to have a few months of healing up to do.
Yeah.
And he could even have damage in that eye, right? You never know. Yeah. So I think Leon Edwards, it's not fair. I think if he was healthy, yes, rematch, but it's not fair for Leon Edwards just to sit in the sidelines now. So he should fight somebody else. But Bilal should also get a stronger fight when he comes back. Maybe the likes of Neil Magny, or if that thing is in fact true, whatever.
Yeah, I think Leon should stay busy. He should stay active.
He's healthy.
He's healthy. Trained his ass off for this fight, and unfortunately, things unfolded the way they did. But I don't think that he should hang his head. I think he should go forward. He's got to stay active. We're not sure what Bilal's trajectory looks like now with that eye. Just an unfortunate way to end things on the card.
Yeah, but nonetheless, it was an amazing card. I actually thought it was better than UFC 259. Yeah. And this is one of these things I always emphasize and tell people, well, not so much, we're still new back to this new revamp of this channel, but it's always these guys that have these they're trying to break through moments, right? These are the moments that you want to capture, and some of the big moments tonight, like Dan Ige, not a lot of people knew who he was, but I guarantee way more people are going to know who he is now, because that highlight is going to go around the world, especially in the MMA world. It was huge.
Well, most of these guys are making their way up the mountaintop right now, and probably at the peak of their career, working their way up to their prime. And these are the fights that you have to look forward to when you're watching a fight night. Not saying every fight night is going to be like this, but this one was definitely fun to watch.
Yep. Anything you want to say before we cancel this? Finish up. We're not canceling anything.
Don't cancel us, guys.
No, don't cancel us, please. We're not contradictory. Controversial. I can't even fucking talk. I'm tired. Yeah. Let's roll. Let's just wrap it up. Yeah, you're here now, which is sick. That means you're past your quarantine time. Yeah. So why don't you just, now that you're president of the camera, why don't you just close this motherfucker up for us? That'd be great.
Guys, let us know how the fights were tonight. Comment down in the comment section. Make sure you like the video. Subscribe. That's the biggest one. Subscribe to the channel, because we're going to be here giving you commentary before and after each big card, fight night, pay-per-view event, and make sure you keep coming back, because we're here. We're here to stay this time.
I back. Believe me, I back. Thank you, Dana White, Lorenzo Fortire, everybody, my friends, Minitaro Nogueira. Hey. Thank you guys so much. We love you, and we're going to see you next time. Peace.
Coming for the top, got the game in the lock. Every time that I drop, know I gotta go bang. I'ma keep it hot, know that I can never stop. Keeping everything I got, I'ma make it go bang. Better than the best, I'ma tell it with my chest. I don't got no time to rest, now they know what I'm saying. Everybody know I'm coming next, I'ma leave it in a mess. If they wanna test, I'ma make it bang. Step into the mind of a young man with